Okay, so we are back, and before we go back on the record, Mr. Alfonso Otero.
Yes, Judge. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So you're here on Charles Katie.
Yes, Judge.
All right, is he in the courtroom?
I think she was this morning. I don't know if she's still there.
All right, Deputy Laura, is there a Charles Kathy or Katie in the courtroom?
Yeah. Yes, he is, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Just give us a moment. He doesn't have to come up yet.
Okay, thank you.
All right, this is family violence. So I'm going to send you to breakout room number 3. Someone from family violence will meet you there.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Judge, will you make me a co-host again?
Yes. All right, so any updates on Mr. Villes, Mr. Davidson, and Mr. Villarreal on the text messages or non-text messages?
So as far as the text messages that he alleges that were sent to him, I believe Mr. Davidson received a copy and he provided me a copy as well. So I anticipate he's going to submit them to the court for its consideration.
Okay. And let me see. And have you emailed that to the court reporter?
Your Honor, I haven't. I have the text messages that allegedly were sent by her, but I haven't emailed them to anyone except the prosecutor.
Well, I mean, if that's something that you're going to offer into evidence, then the court reporter will need to have that copied, and you can mark them as exhibit 1 or 2.
Okay,
I'll put my email in the chat.
thank you.
And then we'll continue. State, do you know if the complaining witness is coming back?
Yes, Your Honor, because regardless, she would like to do a victim impact after sentencing.
Okay. And Mr. Davidson, please include the court in that email. And of course, I will not view it until it is offered.
Okay, Judge,
Yes.
I hate to ask you this question, Judge, but I have to. The best email for you is?
Oh, I will put it in the chat box to you.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. And when you send the email, if you'll include the state as well in your email to me and to the court reporter.
Yes, I
Thank you.
sent the state copy. Mr. Villarreal, are you assuming that I have the text messages from the discovery modules? Is that what you're saying, or?
Are you talking about the text that you sent me this afternoon?
No, I mean the ones that she's talking about where she said that she was contacted on certain dates.
I can send you both into the breakout room. I'll send you to breakout room number 1 if there's a clarification that's needed between you both.
Sorry.
Yes, Your
No
Honor.
problem.
Judge, can you make me a co-host again so I can move?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Winter, did you need to speak to the complainant in this case?
No, Judge, I spoke to her a little bit earlier. We're in contact via text message.
All right, thank you.
Has she logged back in?
Yes,
Okay, I see her. Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Everyone, just give me one moment, please. All right, were you all able to confer in the breakout room and everything has been cleared up?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And then I'll just wait for your email, Mr. Davidson.
I have sent it, Your Honor. It should be there or on the web. Oh, I didn't put the dot between the Stephanie and the Boyd. I'm sorry.
Okay, please do not say my email
I
address on the Zoom.
apologize. I didn't realize it until I was already in it, and I apologize. Sorry.
Thank you.
I realized it suddenly.
Judge, it's Rebecca. Can I see in a breakout room?
Yes. Breakout room number 1?
That's great. Thank you.
Sure.
Let's hope it's not something stupid.
All right. So we're going to go back on the record on this to the court. If you can have Mr. Bills come forward, please.
Right there. That's good.
All right, we're back on the record on 2021 CR 4055, State of Texas versus Kevin Roy Bills. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state,
Michael Villarreal for the state.
for the defense?
William Davidson?
All right, and you are Mr. Bills, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we went on recess, and at that time, the court was represented through the stipulations, the text messages that the defendant had sent to the complainant. And then the defense attorney told the court that there were text messages sent by the complainant to the defendant, and the court wanted clarification or proof on that. Have both parties had a chance to confer state and defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Davidson, I believe we left off with you. Do you have any witnesses or evidence you would like to present?
Your Honor, I would like to present the text messages evidence. The only thing I want to mention is that he sent that to me a long time ago in an email. And so when I got it out, I printed it through my printer and it put today's date on the bottom of it. I can forward the original one that he sent if it's important to do that, because it was not formulated today, but it does have today's date on it at the bottom. But in the middle are the other dates.
All right, state defense is offering, I'm assuming defense exhibit number 1. Defense, are you offering?
Yeah, yes, I'm offering that, Your Honor. Sorry.
State has no objections, just if there's going to be any further questioning, the state obviously wants to reserve its right to question.
All right, then defense exhibit number 1 is admitted into evidence without objection. Any other evidence or any other testimony, Mr. Davidson?
No, well, there's just one other piece of elephant in the room that I wanted to address. I addressed it to my client when we had a long lunch here.
All right, do you have a question for your client? Or
Yes,
are
yes,
you?
yes.
Yes. All right, Mr. Bills, you're still under oath.
Mr. Veals, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, we just talked a minute ago about this issue and I wanted to address it. I don't mean to make it an issue, but it is an issue anyway, so I'm going to address it just straight off. Is there a reason that you showed up in court today in sweats?
Yes, because this is all I can fit right now, and most of all my clothes I got at home is either work clothes or shorts or more jogging pants, because my dress clothes are in my storage, and due to the situation, everything is at hand. I'm back paid in my storage, so my dress shoes and my dress clothes are still in my storage, as well as a lot of more other stuff that I could have worn. So this is right now, and the ones I do have at home, I cannot fit them. I can't button the pants up.
Okay, that's all I wanted to clear up. I don't know if the state has any questions about that.
I'm sorry, Judge, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, any other questions, state?
I just have some follow-up questions on the state's exhibit number 1. Or I'm sorry,
Yes.
defense exhibit number 1. Mr. Veals,
This is defense exhibit number 1.
you provided a copy of these text messages to your defense attorney, correct?
Can I walk over and see? Yes.
And in these text messages, you're alleging that the victim stated that she knows that you didn't start the fire, correct?
This is the text message I got to my phone, sir. Yes.
Okay. And so despite all of these things, you still chose to plead today, or plea in December when these text messages happened in May.
Yes, sir.
No further questions.
All right. So I'm seeing defense exhibit number 1, and defense exhibit number 1 is a text message from Tuesday, May 25th. For the record, it states, "Hey babe, I'm sorry. I know you didn't set that fire when I know you had a key to get your stuff that was left in my house. I was just so mad with you because you went back to that explicit profanity Kool-Aid. Yes, that was me calling privately." And then it says, "When you was there helping me with my kids, oh yeah, yes, I did pawn your radio. That's how angry I was. So all this was to get back at you, and look what happened. No, we were not married either. Should have did that either. But I want more than just to be friends." So that was what the court has reviewed and accepted into evidence. All right, the court will hear closing or argument from defense.
Your Honor, I have stated the case throughout that my client, he just wants a good start. The last 2 years, he's been working solidly at a job. He's stable. When he was on GPS, they knew where he was all the time. He never had problems that I'm aware of on the GPS. On times when he wanted to check his work schedule, he checked with the court first and got permission. My client has not been in trouble with the law in a long time, opposite these events, other than drug cases that were way back in 2012. He's got a high school education. He's working to support himself and his fiance. And everything else that I've already tendered to the court would be repetitive. So that's all I have.
All right. The court is going to grant his application for deferred adjudication. My understanding from reviewing the PSI report that there are some issues with potentially restitution. Is that correct, State?
Yes, Your Honor. When I spoke with the victim this morning, we informed her that she's going to need to gather the documents to accurately reflect what the restitution amount would be.
All right. Then this is what the court will do. Court is going to sentence you to 8 years deferred adjudication. There's a $1,500 fine that will be probated, 3 months GPS tracking. Rebecca, if he does well on GPS without any violations, then the court will consider removal. This run concurrent with 650-388. There's to be no contact with Rose Michelle Lozano. Parenting classes, restitution to be determined. 120 hours of community service restitution. 40 of those hours will be waived if you provide proof of the COVID vaccination. Court is not requiring you to take the COVID vaccination, but if you do, 40 hours will be deducted. If you complete parenting classes, the remainder of your community service hours will be waived. There's to be proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Anger management. I want him tested for levels. Those levels need to start going down. There's to be regular Zoom reporting or in person. Field visits, random, 2 times per month. Rebecca, is there anything else that Mr. Beals needs?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Beals, is there anything else that you need from me in order to be successful?
Prayers.
Okay. All right, Mr. Beals, I'm showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it?
Yes.
All right. Because I followed your plea bargaining agreement, because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record, Mr. Beals. You need to make sure that you abide by all conditions of this probation. When I say there's to be no contact with the complainant, I mean there's to be no contact with her. You say you don't have any children together. You don't have any property together based upon what I've seen in that report. So there should be absolutely no reason for you to contact her, text her, or whatever. If you need to change your phone number. You need to get off of Facebook, get off of LinkedIn, get off of Instagram. But you are not to have any contact with her. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have contact with her, there will be a violation. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and everyone can always use prayers, but I will tell you what my mom and my grandmother always said to me, before you have other people praying for you, you need to start praying for yourself and start doing right. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Villarreal, is there victim impact or no?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Bill, the complaining witness, Ms. Lozano, has some things she wants to say to you. I require that everyone treats everyone with respect, so please internalize what she's saying, okay?
Yes,
All right,
ma'am.
Ms. Lozano, you need to unmute yourself and you may begin.
I would just like to say that 2020 was the year.
We cannot hear you, Ms. Lozano.
2020 was a year that Mr. Bill as a monster terrorized my life. Every nightmare I could envision, he brought to life. As a single mother of 3 children, he raped them of their innocence and showed them a life of violence. He came at me, choked me, harassed me, burglarized me, and then set my home on fire when he believed my children and I were within the home. Thanksgiving Day to most people is a day they give thanks. And for that day, for my children and I, is a day that will forever, they will be haunted. They remember that day as a day we lost everything. Everything I had within my apartment was smoked and damaged, and still had to hold on to all those items, for that's all that I ever owned. Since then, with the help of the Attorney General, the District Attorney's Office, Texas Homeless Resource Center, San Antonio Police Department, East Subdivision, and other agencies, I'm trying to get my life back on my feet. We have been homeless since that 9:30 due to being unsafe in the apartment that we were in because of all the text messaging and harassment that he caused. Thanksgiving Day will never be the same for my children and I. And even today, we are homeless, trying to find a place to rebuild our lives. My children have not been stabilized and have not been back in school. We lost everything in our storage because we had no income and I could not rebuild my life. We have nothing to our name but 2 backpacks with very little clothing due to him only thinking of himself. I pray that in this life and the next, that he will never see me again or my children again for everything he has caused and done to our lives.
All right, thank you, Ms. Lozano. To the advocate and Mr. Villarreal, I know there are places that will provide free housing for Ms. Lozano. Has she been contacted by them? Or has
Yeah,
she reached out to them?
She's been working with a lot of different agencies, but because she doesn't have income, it's kind of caused some problems, but she has been in contact with a bunch of different agencies, trying to get house placement for housing.
And mind you, is there a reason for the lack of income? Because I know there are a couple of places that I can give you names of that will provide housing and probably provide housing for her this week.
Are you asking me? I'm sorry, Judge.
No, I'm speaking to the
I don't know her reason for not having income. I know she's worked with Saha and some other agencies trying to get housing. We've discussed this in the past, so.
All right, Ms. Winter, what I'll do is I will send to Mr. Villarreal and Mr. Davidson. I'll include you in the chat a couple of resources that will probably find housing for her no later than this week.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, to the courtroom, if you could go to breakout room number 1. And Mr. Villarreal, I'll send that in the email to you and Mr. Davidson, so it won't appear to be ex parte. It's really not a part of the case whatsoever, but just so that she will have the information to.
Yes, Your Honor. And I'm sure that we can provide her some other resources that I'm aware of as well.
All right, Ms. Lozano, we'll make sure that you get that information so you can have housing this week, okay? All right, you're welcome. Do you all need to speak with her anymore, Mr. Villarreal?
We can communicate with her by phone so she can be done here for the rest of the day.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Davidson, if you don't have anything else with the court, you are excused.
Thank you. I just had one mention to Mr. Villarreal. This case is going to run concurrent with the other one, which he has not pled to. So I'm going to try to somehow work out something with the other court. I'm not really sure how it's going to work, but I'll contact you. And he
Okay.
hasn't pled to the other case yet. So
Yeah, we'll be in contact.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right,
Thank you,
Mr.
Laura.
Otero, you're welcome. Have a great rest of your day. Mr.
You too.
Otero?
Yes, Judge, I spoke to the state. I have an offer. This is the first setting. If we can get a reset so I can discuss that with my client since he's in the courtroom.
All right. If you wait, we'll let you speak to your client, or are you going to speak to your client off docket?
I'd like to do it off docket, Judge, because privacy concerns.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, on Charles Kathy, can we recall this back in 2 weeks, please? All right, we're going to come back on February 22nd. Do you have all of your clients' contact information, Mr. Otero?
Yes, Judge. I'm out from the 16th to the 27th. Can we do it after that or?
All right, Ms. Ferguson, can we call this back on the 28th then? All right, so we'll be back on February 28th.
All right. Thank you, Judge. Maybe excused.
You may be excused.
Alfonso,
To the
just a
courtroom
minute.
on Mr. Yes?
Oh, no, sorry, Judge. I was asking Alfonso.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Marcos. Yeah.
All right, Miss Deputy Laura, on Charles Cathy, his reset date is going to be February 28th, so he's not to leave the courtroom until he receives a reset form.
You said it to who?
Probation officer, so once you go through
Okay. All right, and then Ms. Ferguson, on Mr. Cantrell,
Yes, ma'am.
we're going to recall him back for tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Whetstone, if you can unmute, just hold down the space bar.
Is it?
Yes, Mr. Whetstone, your
Yes, ma'am.
attorney is not available. He's in another county.
Yes.
So we're going to recall you back for tomorrow. We'll make sure that your attorney's here, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much for your patience. I appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. Y'all have
All
a good
right.
day.
All right, thank you, you too. So everyone, we are going to stop live stream. I'm so glad everyone survived the winter storm.